I got into crypto initially on the crypto side because I spent my career really going around and looking around the world and devaluing currencies. It happened in Asia, happened in Latin America, and Iceland, I think, was the last one. But really, it came to a point where I realized that the US was depreciating and devaluing, and the only way that you could actually devalue the dollar was sort of jump onto something that would give you some sort of safety. And I saw Bitcoin as being that safety valve or that life vest. I think that when we all grow up, we're always shown pictures of the dollar, and it goes from the bottom left to the top right, and we're told things about compounding interest. Another thing we're always taught when we're kids from our grandparents is you've got to buy real estate. It's the best investment in the world. Now, the truth is, it's not real estate that's a great investment. And it's actually the fact that the dollar continues to go down in price, but real estate's a hard asset. And so it retains its value. And I think that's important. And I'll give an example. When I first got a job on Wall Street as an analyst, I think it was $30,000 was my compensation. Nowadays, you want to hire an analyst at a top Wall Street firm, it's going to be $150,000. It's not that kids are smarter, 5 times smarter than I was. It's just that the value of the dollar has gone down by 5 times. And I think that most people don't understand that because we're sort of like frogs slowly being boiled in water, and we never jump out because we don't really realize what's happening. Now, if you're wealthy, you don't notice it as much because you own real estate, you own hard assets, you own art, you own different things. But if you're on that sort of borderline and you're making minimum wage, you do notice it because that minimum wage goes fewer and fewer miles in terms of how it feeds and clothes your family. Now then Bitcoin came around, and here was something you could buy fractional ownership in. You didn't have to buy a Picasso anymore to save your $30 million. Now you could save $5 buying something like Bitcoin. And I think that people don't understand really what Bitcoin is or what it can be. But you never notice by looking at the value of the dollar against the yen or the dollar against the euro, how much the dollar is going down, because the euro is going down too, and so is the yen. Every country in the world is printing currency. But if you look at the dollar in terms of how is it compared to, let's say, Bitcoin or real estate or fine art, you'll find that the dollar is absolutely collapsing. And so I got into that space. I met with this chap that was in Israel, and I said I had to be involved with this project. I flew out to Tel Aviv for the first time ever, met with them, and got involved with the project. And INEX is very different in that we wanted to do a IPO in the blockchain, and that means that it was a digital security issued on the Ethereum Blockchain, it's an ERC 1404 token. We spent 950 days working with the SEC to do this because it had never been done before. So sure, crypto was around, securities were around, but there was nothing that was actually a security on a blockchain. So 950 days coming up with the definitions in our prospectus that we had for investors. But we wanted to do this specific type of issuance because we saw ICOs in 2017 and 2018. And we thought, look, these are great ways to raise money from the general public, but they're completely illegal. In that when you raise money from the general public, you have to involve the SEC. It has to be a registered security. And so, we had to build that from scratch. We did it. We got approval from the SEC. It's called Going Effective. We opened up a website, and on that website, there was an Invest Now button. We told people about our project, what we were going to do, what the token was. And what the token was offering was 40% of our profits, if we ever have any, going forward. But this is our vision. And our vision was to create a platform where you could trade cryptocurrencies, where you could trade security tokens, where you could trade digital assets of all nature for retail and institutions. So something that had existed in that you've got cryptocurrency trading companies, existed in that there are security token trading companies, but it wasn't something that sort of encompassed all of it. In the end, we raised $84 million or $85 million from 7,250 investors in 74 countries. And we sold the IPO at 90 cents. Today, the token's trading at $2.60. If our IPO was put up against all other IPOs in the United States for 2021, we would be the second best performing IPO of the year. But of course, we're not because we're on the blockchain and we're digital as opposed to in paper format sitting on the NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange. Now, once we'd done our IPO, we went to the New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ. We said, we'd like to list today. They said, listen, we can't list digital assets. We said, well, that's an opportunity. We used some of the capital that we had to do a number of things to start up a cryptocurrency trading business that actually is open in Pennsylvania. It opened in 23 states, I believe, in Washington, D.C. so far, but we're adding new states every single month. And we also bought a broker dealer and ATS that specialized in digital assets called Open Finance. And we decided to list our token on that ATS. Today, the INX token is the most traded security token in the United States, with the most number of holders of it. There's 8,040, I believe, as of right now. And the volumes done and the market cap on our exchange, I believe, are the largest of all of the folks that are our competition. And we're only about 3 months old. We also bought an interdealer broker. That's the kind of guy that deals with 40 plus US banks and international banks and trades with them currencies and commodities. And we did that because we want to start offering derivative products that are called non-deliverable forwards in Bitcoin and Ethereum, because banks around the world want to trade Bitcoin and they're being told to by their high net worth clients and institutions. And they want to create different types of financial instruments like commercial paper so they can make money on Bitcoin. But the way they need to do that is they need to build a yield curve. Right now, their only ways to do that were to go into the IMM or the CME and use the futures contracts, but that only gives you 3 to 6 months. With an NDF, you can go out to 1 year. And it doesn't actually require settlement of Bitcoin. Instead, what it requires is just the price movement of Bitcoin that has followed. And it's something we used to do in currencies like in Argentina, Chile, Colombia, China. Currencies that were very enclosed, but you wanted to have some sort of exposure to them for hedging reasons. So that's kind of what we're doing in a nutshell.